Well, the time is just gone 5 minutes past 8, and straight away we go across to political analyst, Professor Seepe. Sipho, good morning to you, sir. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, and thanks for the invite.
Yes, obviously interesting dynamics that are playing out in the court. Pushback as far as the court is concerned. The judge rejecting Ramaphosa Section 89 argument. Ramaphosa talks about humiliation. The impeachment committee says we're going ahead despite the recess.
Yes, and I think we must also put this whole court case in the context of a president who has been less than frank and honest with South Africans. One must go back to the fact that we came to know of this Palapala matter 2 years after it had happened. And during that time, President Ramaphosa was presenting himself as this Mr. Clean, as this person who's anti-corruption, and even indicated that should it occur that there'll be instances where fingers are pointed at him, he's a person who is likely to step aside. But when the matter was raised, he had forgotten what he had promised as Mr. Clean. And he has tried by all means to make sure that he's not held to account. And we must also remember the role played by the ANC. The ANC, when the report came, they made sure that it is actually blocked, that it is rendered null and void. But the report was already there. It took the ATM and EFF to take the matter up to the Constitutional Court. And the Constitutional Court ruled in favor of the ATM and EFF to say Parliament, which is really the majority at the time was the ANC. And the ANC having used its majority to block the process of impeachment. The Constitutional Court says that this matter must go back and Parliament must do its job. Now you have a president who again decides to say this report should not be discussed. And one must also understand that the report exists. But what the president is concerned about is because many people have not bothered to read it. If there is a discussion around this report, then all his shenanigans will be laid bare. So he is more concerned about, as he says, the humiliation that will come. But as the court indicated, that the notion of reputation it comes with a cost. If you're going to enjoy the benefits of being a president, you must also understand that sometimes that also involves you being humiliated. But here, it's not even about humiliation. It's about him accounting to the people of this country. If you go around presenting yourself as Mr. Clean, then you should go through the process. And as his former predecessor, Thabo Mbeki, says, if this president claims to be innocent, why is he going to such great lengths to make sure that the party protects him from accounting? Now, having failed, he now goes to the court to say the court must stop this process because he might suffer irreparable harm. But the truth is, he has already suffered the irreparable harm. Nobody takes him seriously anymore. His posture of renewal, the notion of anti-corruption, the notion of dealing with malfeasance is now in tatters. He has been totally discredited. So he can't go to the court saying, oh, but my reputation. He has no reputation as we speak.
Yes, Prof. And I think, while we are staying on the subject of humiliation and for obvious reasons, there possibly could be a lot that could come out. There may be skeletons in the cupboard as well. Where does this leave the ANC at this point in time? And we know that we're still waiting for the court ruling, but would that put the ANC on a back foot?
Well, the ANC is already on the back foot because it cannot defy the court. It is now in the president's court to say, what do you do? Are you willing to take the country into your confidence and prove once and for all that you are innocent? And if you're innocent, you'll be able to answer those questions. But the president knows fully well that not only did he hide this fact about the money that was in a mattress, that was in his house, that was stolen, he also knows that there were a number of activities that followed in an attempt to get that money back. And in trying to get that money back, there were also certain laws that were broken. But what is also obvious is the first thing that this is a president who went publicly to say he's in the business of selling cattle. And in terms of the constitution, we expect the president to be focused on his work as a president, not to be having some side hustle. But this is a president who has publicly says, no, I do, even as a president, have a side hustle. I sell cattle. And the money that was stolen is money that comes from the proceeds of sale. And effectively, when you say that and you come up in open, you are already fallen foul of the constitution. Then the second issue is the president should have reported this matter as required by legislation, that once there is a criminality and also you know that this has happened in your official capacity, you have to report it. He did not report it. And secondly, there are questions that says, how do you keep so much money, foreign currency, in your house? And when you know the rules and the laws of this country, that that money should have been declared, and he did not declare it. So there is a series of violations, both of a criminal nature and also of a constitutional nature. And this is what the president is preventing South Africans from hearing, because that is actually contained in the report. But he knows full well that because South Africans don't read these documents, once the process of impeachment proceeds, then there'll be an investigation, there'll be an interrogation, there'll be the MPs are going to make all these things visible that are in the report. And that will be very humiliating, because what you're going to have is an exposure of an emperor with no clothes.
Prof. Sipho, how badly do you think President Ramaphosa has miscalculated on the Pala matter? And we see this where, sometimes leadership think that they are immune from impeachment. They immune to be held from being held accountable as well. And when one looks at, the world, the UK has been a classic example. In a decade, we've seen 7 prime ministers come and go. And once again, just looking at South Africa as well, this whole narrative of being immune when you are when you need to be held accountable.
Well, I mean, first of all, he has not been held accountable by his own party. You would have thought that if you have a president who takes your party, who destroys the political fortunes of your party, where you get into the presidency when the party has a 62% share of the vote, and 7 years later, the share of the vote goes to 40%. That is staggering 22% of a loss of a share of the vote. You would have thought that the person would have walked away and say, guys, I tried, I failed. Many Democrats everywhere in the world, they would even step down once they lose about 5%, even less than 5%. So politically, he has been a disaster, but he has not been held accountable by his own party. Second, you then have all these malfeasance, these shenanigans that are taking place, and he thought he'll use the majority of that the ANC has in parliament, which was used to make sure that there's no light that is going to be shed on the matter. So that was a serious miscalculation, because he did not count on the EFF, ATM, and other parties saying we're going to go take this matter to the Constitutional Court. He should have known that this is not the first time. Even under Jacob Zuma, when the ANC used its majority, parties went to the court and says that this parliament is unwilling to hold the president to account. Now, this is the second bite on that by the ANC and by the president. So he does not come here as if he does not know. This is why the court, one of the judges reminded him that before you became a president, you knew that there's section 89. So why do you pretend that when you are to be held to account, it's something that would impact on your reputation? It comes with the job. And that he was told very clear. So it will be interesting how the court will rule on this one. But politically, Ramaphosa is already a damaged goods.
Well, Prof, we're going to put you on hold, and when we come back, I just wish to engage you for about another 5 minutes, if that's okay with you.
That's fine.
Thank you.
You know, it's a wonder how kids get anything done these days. With all the distractions, when do they even get time to study? As a mother, all I can really do is make sure they have all they need to perform at their best. That's why I choose to include Sunfoil triple refined pure sunflower oil with every meal I make. Naturally cholesterol-free and approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation as part of a balanced eating plan. So whether I'm cooking, frying or baking, I know every dish will be a wholesome one. Sunfoil, now we're cooking.
Right now, over 150 million children around the world are orphaned, facing hunger, hardship, and uncertainty. With Islamic Relief's Orphan Sponsorship Program, you can provide a child with access to education, nutritious food, essential healthcare, and a safe home. Your sponsorship is not just support, it's hope, security, and a brighter future. Be the reason an orphan child smiles again. Sponsor an orphan today with Islamic Relief.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042 203 1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
Are you banking with convenience, transparency, and flexibility? With Al Baraka Bank's transactional banking account, you can enjoy convenient everyday banking designed around your needs. Benefit from zero fees on point-of-sale transactions and manage your banking easily through Al Baraka's secure mobile banking app and internet banking platform. From everyday payments to managing your personal or business banking, Al Baraka makes banking simple, transparent, and convenient. Visit albaraka.co.za to learn more. Al Baraka, your partner bank. Al Baraka Bank Limited is an authorized financial services and credit provider.
Gaza needs your support more than ever. Homes have been shattered and families have lost everything. With your support, our teams are delivering clean water tankers, feeding the hungry, and assisting orphans who have no one left. Let us give Gaza whatever help we can. African Muslims Agency, empowering, educating, inspiring.
Rejuvenating media day by day. This is Salam Media.
Well, we continue with our broadcast this morning. The court pushback with regard to President Cyril Ramaphosa and the Pala matter. Prof. Sipho, just to continue now, we see the impeachment committee has made it very, very clear that they are ready and willing to go, obviously dependent on the outcome of the court ruling. And even during the recess, what they are saying is they're going to meet at least 3 times before this recess actually takes place. So clearly there is an urgency on the matter as far as the impeachment committee is concerned, and also considering the fact that this is a matter that has dragged on for far too long. And just looking at it, it's a defining year. We've got local government elections coming up as well. And this is obviously likely to impact politically on the ANC as well.
Oh, definitely. One must also understand that the ANC at the moment has lost support of its traditional constituents. For a party to move from 57 to 40% in one electoral cycle simply suggests that the people are saying, we have given you a chance. We are no longer trusting you with our aspirations. We're no longer trusting you with our vote. So that message has already been sent. That's why we have what you call a government of national unity. But even then, when the ANC had an opportunity to create a new government, it preferred to go with the DA, a party that Mandela described as a party of white bosses. They preferred not to work with parties that represent the major stakeholders of the ANC, because the ANC is ultimately the backbone of the ANC support is the African majority, and other parties also represent the African majority. So if you are more concerned about advancing the interests and aspirations of the African majority because of the history of racial subjugation, you would partner with those parties. But when you have a prepaid president whose presidency was bankrolled by largely white capital, then you can understand that this is what the voters are also seeing. But secondly, you have a president who came on the ticket of the twin government. Now you find the president who's going to be spending a lot of time in the courts trying to defend himself. And actually, he's not even trying to defend himself, is to try to prevent from him being held accountable. So when these things are playing themselves out, the voters are actually seeing through this leadership of the ANC. And they are actually saying this leadership of the ANC exists for itself. The president was supposed to be there to advance the people of South Africa. It is now being reduced to advancing the interests of the president. And the voters are actually working that as the campaign hots up towards a local election, the president will be busy in the courts or will be dealing with him, the society will be dealing with him through the impeachment process in parliament. So if you have a leader who has his back against the wall, that's not the leader that you're actually going to take forward to be the face of your party. Secondly, this is a leader who had actually failed also economically. People had said that Ramaphosa is a businessman, but we know that he was never a businessman. This is a person who was given shares as a way of buying a few black people to co-opt them into the white agenda. And we have seen lack of transformation under his leadership. We have seen the reversal of the gains that have been made. But most importantly, far from the suggestion that he'll bring about economic growth, the economy has actually gone into nosedive. The GDP of this country is 3 times less than it was under his predecessor. So you're talking about the president who not only failed politically, but he also failed on the basis of the idea or misconception or the myth that the business understand this person and the business will invest. We've had the number of investor conferences they have brought to they have brought nothing. Instead, we've seen unemployment spiraling out of control. We have seen crime also spiraling out of control. You have also seen a lot of protests on a daily basis. So these things do not augur well for the ANC. And we've also seen that if you were to look at the by-elections, the ANC has not been doing well. So you can rest assured, as some of the polls indicate, that the ANC is hovering around 35%. If the election was to be held today, it might actually even become worse as we go towards elections.
Well, Prof. Seepe, as always, an absolute pleasure engaging with you and obviously canvassing your views and your thoughts as well. For now, we thank you. We do appreciate you taking time out with us at Salam Media. All the best to you.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Political analyst Professor Sipho this morning. And yes, just so much, in fact, one can actually take away from this discussion that we've had with the respected professor. And it's interesting to see what the outcome is going to be, what the court ruling is going to be. And thereafter, are sparks likely to fly with the impeachment committee?